Alright, now another few things that I'm just going to recommend that you get. A couple of these things are necessity, but a couple of these things are just for comfort. The first is a upper strut mount nut tool from ECS. This is made by Schwaben, which if you guys aren't familiar with Schwaben, they make a ton of German parts. Everything from transmission, drain, and oil plugs to this handy tool right here. This is going to make your life a lot easier, and I'm going to use it in the video tutorial that I'm going to make for installing the suspension. But this is pretty much going to go in the engine bay on top of the strut tower nut to be able to loosen it so you can stick your Allen through the top. It just makes life a lot easier. Okay, now the other thing, Raceland recommends this. I didn't use these when I did the rocker coilover suspension in my Jetta, but I should have, and for good reason. These are going to be the stretch bolts that go and lock in the bottom of your strut, your front strut, to the spindle, and they're actually going to go behind the front strut, and that's what's going to tighten up the spindle or that part of the control arm onto the lower part of the front coilover. Now these are very cheap. You can get them on ECS like I did. With the nut, each pair of bolt and nut I think is $3. It's a hardware kit, it's called. So moving on. These again were also on clearance through ECS. These are the top mount nuts. These are the nuts that are going to go on top of your strut, right underneath your top mount, which are these. Right underneath the rubber bushings, and not really necessity, but for 99 cents each, why not just get them? Alright, and then last but not least, probably the most important, you don't have to get these, but I would kind of list it, if you were doing things to my grade of quality, I would list this as an absolute necessity. These are made by Sachs, and they are the top mount bushings with bearing. What this is going to do, and I'm going to explain this again in the tutorial, these are bushings that are the absolute last thing on the top of the front coilover, the top of the strut. These are the last things that go on the top strut and into the wheel well before the actual body and engine bay cover the coilover. And then a bearing actually sits, if I can just zoom in, a bearing actually sits on top of that. Now what this does is every time you go over a bump, the coilover pushes upwards onto the inside of the strut tower, and this gets worn out after about 50 or 60,000 miles. So it's definitely good to replace. If you don't replace it, they get squished, and you'll start to see that your top hat on the inside of your engine bay, on top of your strut tower, you'll start to see it. You'll start to see it rise, which is not good. You want it to be flat with the strut tower. So this was, I think, $14.99 for the set with the bearing. I think it's $12 without the bearing. Just go ahead and get the bearing, because obviously bearings wear out as well. So that's what I got. That's what I'm going to recommend you guys get. Again, a pair of Sachs top mount bearings. Top mounts with bearings. Strut tower nuts. The ECS stretch mount to spindle hardware kit, 2 of them, a pair, and then the strut tower tool, I guess it's called. So that's pretty much all I recommend. So